This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern. We talk about guns for like an hour. So we got some people joining us. We got Angelina joining in from California. Thanks for jumping in.
Hello from 1900 California.
That's a reference to an earlier conversation. We got Clover jumping in from Texas. Tejas.
Tejas, baby. Yeah. Howdy.
Dano, longtime host of the show, returns for an evening out of Illinois. Thanks for jumping in.
No problem. Just here to keep things clean and straight, Angie.
and correct and technically accurate. So Night Strike jumping in from South Carolina. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, great. Just don't hand Dano a grease gun because he'll break it.
Night Strike coming in from the boiler room of guntube.org, keeping it going during this rain stuff.
Well, I'm working the midnight oil, but it happens.
Midnight Oil, the members of gun channels? You're crazy. Taters jumping in from Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I feel like maybe you lost Patriot. Where's Patriot at? Oh, I see. He's probably watching Edge. So Edge of the Night is chat over on gun channels happening right now, and maybe we lost Patriot over there. We got Gunstomp jumping in from Oklahoma. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite, sir.
I'm down. You bet. I'm down here in Tucson, and we've got some other links out there. So we'll see if any other people jump in. If you're interested, let us know, and we'll get on with the show. So we got some people watching on the YouTube side. That's where we host the show. So we can get it over on GunTube, not because of Night Strike, just because I'm lazy. And then we'll be hosting it over on guntube.org, which is a better platform. But we also always will embed the show over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the comments from the people watching live, which is what it's all about. We started doing this show, I don't know, what episode are we on? 600 something episodes ago? I guess 640 episodes ago. Back in the day when Bob was a young kid, we decided we'd try this podcasting thing out, and the whole idea was to experiment with the new media, and the audience being part of the show is what it's all about. Otherwise it's just a stupid radio show being stuck on the internet, and it's definitely not that. Tonight we are giving away some knives because it's free Patch Friday, and it's probably one of the only times I remember to talk about that at the beginning of the show. So you have an opportunity until we give these knives away to still buy stuff from gearwebsites.com. Gearwebsites.com is our online store, and that's one of the ways that we can keep our projects online and on the road through participation with the audience. So my goal has always been to have information disseminated from the bottom up, from individuals who know exactly what they're talking about, bringing it to conversation so that others can debate and collaborate, and then create policy from that, not have policy or information or agenda trickle down from above. Part of our First Amendment is the evolution beyond that necessity. When someone owns the means of dissemination of information, they own the conversation. Well, this all has been an effort to get rid of that. And one of the ways that we fund all that, instead of going to corporate sponsors, which might change, is to reach out to our viewers and ask them to throw a couple of bucks at us each month, not like a hat, but like somebody's paying for PBS or something, except not through government extortion. So if you like what we're doing, we have a Patreon account, and you can just throw money at us that way. We do things like a patch of the month, a sticker of the month made by Angelina over there in California. And another thing we do is have an online store. So we sell some of our playing cards that we've done over the years, which are all made in the USA. Thank you very much. And we sell some patches and stickers and things, which are as often as possible sourced in the United States. And on Fridays, we say thanks by giving away free patches to anybody who orders, no matter the size of the order, no coupon codes or any of that stuff. So if you order on a Friday, you're getting extra patches with the order. And today, anybody who orders before we actually do the drawing or the whatever is going to have an opportunity to grab one of these cool knives. So they're all, what should I say, name brand. Got a Spyderco, a Benchmade, a Cricut, or I guess Columbia River knife and tool, and then I guess 2 Columbia River knife and tools. I'm also going to throw you that. Wait a minute, I can't throw you the Clover patch. So you won't get a Clover patch, but you will get a Daily Gun Show button. Those are, not very many people have them. I think maybe less than 20 people at this point have them. Anyhow, we're going to talk about that later in the show. So if you'd like to make a little bell ring, you can go over to gearwebsites.com and buy something, and then a little bell will ring, and then the Second Amendment will get a little stronger, and we'll get some gas in the tank, and probably be like get better grades. I think your wife will like you better. Your teeth will be whiter.
Is it a bell or is it brass like hitting the floor sound?
It's literally a cash register sound. You know
Oh,
what though? Probably can make it do something different. I was just playing around with a site called If This Then That. Ooh, thank you very much. If This Then That, and we'll play around with that on either a Monday on our show or a Thursday on Clover's show, and talk and show people how interesting it can be to have little automated things happen. But yeah, we could probably make a thing where if somebody bought something at the store, all kinds of neat stuff could happen. Like lights could go on. I could turn an air conditioner on. I could make an air raid siren happen. Who knows? I can quit screen sharing and we'll get on with the show before I start showing secrets all over the place here. We're going to give away those knives though in a little bit. So if you want to get in on that, I think we have less than 10 people ordered at this point. So pretty good odds. You're going to get 2 knives because I'm going to do it at every 5. Another knife is going to go out there. So right now we're always going to have 20% odds or better. Just like Vegas. Except better. You get a knife.
so all they got to do to get in on it is order something from gearwebsites.com?
Yep, thank you for summing it up. Exactly. Today we're talking about future armor materials. So I brought experts in. Angelina being a giant dinosaur with little tiny arms, armor on at all times. She knows about it. Clover also wearing armor at all times, as you can see in his icon. Dano constantly shooting people. You can see by his logo there. Night Strike, he has 2 guns all the time. Potatoes has to hide behind that potato, which is probably not good armor. And as you can see, Snob just walks around with a tuxedo. So brought this group of experts in so we could talk about future armor materials. Here we go.
Point of order that the Kingsmen walk around like that too. So, right?
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Also, what about Jackie Chan? Was that bulletproof, or was that tuxedo bulletproof?
I don't
Remember
remember.
the Jackie Chan movie about tuxedo?
The tuxedo, yeah, I think that was.
It was. So, good choice.
I feel like I'm the most prepared because I got all those things.
All the doodads and hanging offing items.
Yeah, there's like pouches and knee pads and angry mouth.
I think I'm the only one with magical capabilities, though. So,
Well, you are rumored to taste delicious.
I don't know. Gunsnob looks like a fairy.
Really?
Oh.
he looks snobby to me, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, a little snobby.
You say I look like a slob? What?
Wizard is suggesting that these are not good armor. Interesting. Everybody's not joining it. Link over here. Anyway, so what's the next armor? Is it going to be ceramic? Is it going to be some sort of pliable fluid? Anybody paid attention or seen anything about that?
Well, the current trend certainly seems to be ceramic due to, it's reduced significant weight reduction. And for anybody who's ever had to, hump a pack plus armor for miles and miles, weight matters. Let alone sitting in a vehicle where it's very uncomfortable. Of course, the downside is once they've been hit, you pretty much need to replace it.
You're talking ceramic?
Yes.
And plus, it's fragile on its edges and being
Yes.
dropped and moved around. So you've got the potential that you don't even realize you're wearing ineffective or not as effective armor.
Right. Correct.
The future of body armor needs to be cool to wear.
I've seen a lot of body armor and plates being made out of that polyethylene stuff lately. You know, the high molecular weight polyethylene. It's it almost feels like polymer, but it apparently works.
Well, if we're talking about, you know, the future of like lighter weight, thinner stuff, then the what are we talking about? What am I thinking? Graphite film? Has anybody heard about that?
I have not.
I hear the sound of money.
Graphite what?
Graphite film.
No. So nanotubes or something different?
I don't know. I think, yeah, you got me.
But no, I guess I haven't heard of that. Is that something that's like catches it or it?
Yeah, the way it reacts to the pressure. They say it gets like as hard as diamonds under the, you know, like with the projectile was to hit it, it would immediately become as hard as diamonds. So I mean, it wouldn't be able to penetrate.
Okay, so it's once a pressure is applied, it resists or whatever.
Right. It changes on a molecular level, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Kind of like when you do the bowl of cornstarch with a kid or whatever, and then they punch it and it turns into like mud or whatever. When you let go, it goes back to being soup or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that the water style that they put the electricity to?
I guess that's what I'm looking at right now is liquid body armor. Liquid Kevlar.
Yeah, it's got filaments or whatever that float in it until they power it up.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the idea there? You walk around with it being flexible and less of a pain in the butt and less fragile, I guess, and then
until it gets hit.
Well, and then it happens automatically, or like you engage it when you think you anticipate a hit, or like it can.
It says
automatically.
It says during normal handling, the STF is very deformable and flows like a liquid. But when a bullet or frag hits the vest, it transitions into a rigid material. This prevents the projectile from penetrating the soldier's body.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the things I was seeing that I thought was pretty future.
Yeah. I've seen that where they were talking about doing that on vehicles as well, where it's lighter or something.
And it's also more stab resistant than conventional body armor.
You know, I was just checking out here real quickly on the net, so to speak, the carbon nanotubes, and they are significantly stronger than steel.
Well, they're stronger than steel when you pull them, but I don't know. Thank you very much. I don't know if they're, you know, stronger for like abrasion or whatever that would be when you go to slice, you know, like if it was a rope, if you were trying to cut the rope. I know that they're strong to pull them, like on a bridge or something, or like when they start making space tubes.
They're also apparently very lightweight, again, in comparison to steel. So
yeah, carbon don't mean nothing. It's just literally carbon, just spun, you know, at a molecular level into a weave or something, so that it becomes structurally strong. And then you give it a little bit of a shape, and it's super strong.
What's that bullet resistant? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just curious, what's the bullet resistant clothing supposed to be made out of?
Well, typically it's Kevlar, but that only goes up to 3A.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen with bullet-resistant clothing would basically be soft armor, but instead of being the standard panels for like a normal carrier, it would be kind of sculpted to be more like for, I don't know, high-risk person or something who wants to look normal, or maybe they're bodyguards that they want to look more normal and less like a, you know, like a body, like somebody with body armor on. So I've just seen that kind of thing, like maybe a whatever you call like a vest underneath a tuxedo, or like a shirt that looks like a button-down shirt or something that you would put under a coat.
Well, it's still got to be quite a bit thicker, though, doesn't it? Just like a vest is. I mean, it can't be as thin as regular clothes, I would assume.
Well, I've
There's a
never
guy-
heard of anything that would be effective for rifles. Period.
Well, yeah, no soft body armor is really.
I watched a show that there's a guy in South America possibly that does the suits, the full suits, and they were talking about a lot of different stuff like that, but it's clothing instead of so it doesn't look like plate carriers or anything. It's just like you're wearing a suit, and they're doing it for a bunch of dignitaries and.
Oh yeah. That guy in South America that makes business suits or just like any clothing that's bulletproof.
And he tests them. He actually takes them and lets you shoot him, or he shoots you, or something before you leave.
Right.
Yeah, I seen it on one of those. Well, I listened to it. I didn't see it, but same thing. I don't know what the guy's name was. It's some foreign guy.
Apparently, they are making body armor out of carbon nanotubes. I've not gotten additional details as of yet as I'm trying to search for it, but yeah, they're actually selling it.
So I'm guessing that's a lot lighter weight, so it should be a lot cooler to wear. Because the problem with wearing a normal vest is they're pretty warm to wear all day.
Yeah, on this one website I'm looking for that's actually selling, it says Citizen Armor provides concealed, ultralight, flexible, highly effective personal protective products and peace of mind for any situation. And their products are all carbon nanotube based. They offer from vests to inserts to backpacks to briefcases, little things like that. I shouldn't say little things, but things like that.
Is there anything that nanotubes can't do? No. Tubes are the future.
Tubes are the future.
I just saw this link thanks to Roosted, who's over on the Gun Channel side, right? And notice how earlier Night Strike was saying like how the styrofoam or whatever, the foam composite, and he was trying to claim that came from South Carolina. Here it is, North Carolina State University being developed.
I never claimed it was from South Carolina.
Sure. Now you're trying to change history. So
I'm not trying to change anything. I'm telling the truth.
It looks like gross slime mucus off of some kind of worm, and then that's pretty neat. You would think that critters who get bit all the time would have come up with something to stop from getting bit in half, right? Look like a little chunk of chocolate chip Rice Krispie treat.
Like an armadillo has that hard outer.
Watching my screen, it's like a bunch of gross slime off of this worm, I'm guessing. This is
yeah.
So again, this happened in
Are you sure that's not an eel?
Giant earthworm.
Oh.
Maybe it gets disgusted. You say stuff to it till it's disgusted and it'll spit.
Oh, it's one of those where it submits as a defensive mechanism.
Haven't actually read it, but it says the monstrous-looking spineless hagfish lives in the deepest depths of the ocean and scavenges on the ocean floor for food on dying animals inside out. Made of mucus and thread-like fibers, the clear slime, ultra-long and flexible. It's so powerful it has been the key to survive extinction after extinction, even outlasting the dinosaurs. So, yeah, I guess it has slime instead of scales.
And I have heard of that before. That creature is the hagfish, and it's really not a fish, but as we think of fish anyway. And the properties of that slime, for lack of having the correct scientific term, and the potentials that I'm sorry, I'm getting
it's slimy.
My attention is being dragged somewhere else at the moment. Yes, and the future uses potentially of that slime, if we're able to harvest it. I mean, because most scientific discoveries are either inspired by or directly taken from things that occur in nature.
She keeps saying we shot the foam body armor with 7.62 by 63 M2. Isn't that 30-06?
I don't know.
You say about 63?
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
a 30
that's
Yeah, it's
30
30-06.
Yeah.
that they're shooting at this. So that's not anything to sneeze at.
No.
Crazy. I wonder what it's. On the side of the foam that faces the warfighter's body, the bullet was only able to cause an 8mm indention. Neat. It'd probably, oh, thank you very much. It'd probably knock you down, but if it doesn't, formation in the foam, that's pretty good. I just want to say thanks to the people of North Carolina for coming up with this life-saving material.
That thing she's holding, that piece of armor, I finally figured it out. It looks like one of those cookies and cream Hershey bars.
Snap, it is looking like
There you go.
It is you're talking about an 8mm indention into the body?
Right. In other words, instead of a 30-06, like knocking you down, it's only going to put a 8mm indention on the body side of the armor, as opposed to make a giant cavitation or something, right?
Right. Okay, so you're going to have. Okay, that's enough to break a rib or something, but
Yeah, you're
it's
going to be sore, maybe have a broken rib.
Not enough to damage an organ or pump.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean it's still going to have the force of that 30.
Oh no, the shock, the shock or the energy or whatever is going to suck, no doubt.
Right. Nope. That's interesting.
Yeah, but that level 2 that I shot with a 380 left that big of an indention in that bucket I had it on. So, you know, that's pretty amazing that it'll stop a 30-06 with that little bit.
Let's just remember that was North Carolina. All right, so we're going to move on to, I guess I should grab my notes, I guess. Do we even have a schedule for today?
It is Friday.
Means it's Free Patch Friday. That's what all those dings are. We're buying stuff over at the start. Whoa, what happened to my screen? I am at 50% magnification. Let's go up to actual seeing it. So it is, why is this? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. We got recoil impulse, what we're going to talk about next. I put that in there. I remembered what we're going to talk about there. So that should be a neat one. I don't know if we've ever talked about recoil impulse before on the show. But before we do, we like to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels each day during the show. That's one of the reasons we do the show on a daily basis, so that we can include things like our gun shop of the day and our Gun Channels member of the day. Somebody we have not talked about in a while, and I've almost met him twice, but not yet, is Hawaii Volcano Squad, who does one of the shows on Mondays. He's been doing that for many years now, and a little bit different type of show. While he's into guns and everything, he's also into other things like different kind of currencies and investments in metals and prepping. He lives in Hawaii, which is a whole other interesting aspect of it. Lately, they've had the volcanoes, and I think, are they having a massive hurricane or something right now?
Yes.
That's what they get for living on an island. But anyway, he gives us an insight to what it's like to live on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And he's been a member of Gun Channels through thick and thin, through the ebbs and flows, the popularity and the less popularity, and the changes we've done. So, like Night Strike said, so much can be said of HCS. I'll stop and let y'all chat about him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
He certainly has an interesting perspective on things.
He's, I don't know, he seems nice. I've only talked to him maybe 6 or 7 times.
And don't mention any type of a knife unless you're ready for a 3-hour conversation. Just saying.
It's definitely a different. He's not. Definitely a different character.
Gun Channel, not a bunch of people walking in lockstep. And
also, don't broach the topic of bullpups either.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
unless you are really into bullpups.
Unless, again, you want another 3-hour conversation.
So anytime you want to watch his chat, it's over on his channel, which is Hawaii Volcano Squad. You can get it from the schedule, or on when you log into Gun Channels, there's usually some recommended channels over there. And he calls it Locked and Loaded. And like a lot of people, he'll do his show live, and then throughout the week, you're welcome to come back at any time and watch the show. And if you like it, you can click over on his YouTube channel and watch as many of the shows as you might want in his archives over there. So I'll throw the link out there since we're chatting them up. And that's our member of the day. If you want to recommend somebody for member of the day, then go ahead and what the hell? There. Go ahead and send us an email, gun channels or dailygunshow@gmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to include other people onto the schedule. All right, so well, do this, and recoil impulse. Are we going to take that one?
Ooh, is that like are we supposed to like to describe like different calibers and what the impulse feels like as compared to other things? And if so, what are we going to compare it to?
Okay, I guess that's a good question. So recoil impulse is something I don't think too many people take into consideration, so I threw it on a little thing there. For example, if people have shot an AR-15, the recoil impulse, I guess, is what you would consider. I guess everybody might have a different definition of it, but it's the interaction with your body, I guess. You know, the way that the firearm operates in, conjunction.
It's the perception, more or less, too, of the
How
recoil.
Right. So some guns can throw you around. Like think of a shotgun that doesn't have any kind of recoil absorbers at all. It's going to move your body all over the place, because it has no operation. Revolver is going to be a bit different in your hand. It's going to kick differently than like a semi-auto pistol. An AR-15 with its mass in an aluminum tube is going to feel different when you're holding a rifle than an AK-47, which has a lot more weight distributed out around it. Again, it's going to be different than an H&K or something, which has a completely different type of disengagement.
The shape of the grip, and then the energy transfer, which has to do with the caliber, and then there's the psychological factor, which is going to vary from individual to individual, which is why you can have two people fire the same caliber out of the same firearm at the same time, and they might describe the impact differently.
Well, bullet weight and powder weight also changes that too.
Exactly. I guess I for the sake of this discussion, I'm assuming everything is what I'll call SAMI spec as far as powders, and then we're using all the same bullet weight just to keep things simple.
It
but
also
yes, you're
depends
absolutely right.
on your action too. A bolt versus semi-auto.
Well, right, and that's another reason why I mentioned the exact same gun, because if you take, let's say, a revolver, one guy's shooting a 38 special in a revolver, and some other guy is shooting a SAMI spec 9mm out of a semi-auto. Yeah, they're not technically the same, but they're pretty darn close.
Does this have anything to do if you're sitting there watching a guy dry fire and you see him move?
I don't know. That's a good
Would
question.
that be perceived?
Flinch. You mean exactly?
I mean, you look at little kids when they're shooting with play guns. What do? They're always moving it up and down like they're got recoil.
And that's the psychological factor that I mentioned, and being able to, if it's something that you want to do and get better at, being able to train out of that.
Well, that's one of the things, like, whenever somebody keeps shooting and missing the target and stuff, you can, randomly load the snap cap in there, and see that they're anticipating that recoil and stuff.
Absolutely. That's probably one of the best tools to determine, number one, are you flinching? And if you are, how bad? And then if it's something that you need to work on, incorporate that regularly into your routine.
Well, that's
I can have someone that says, "Oh no, I'm not flinching," and you put a snap cap in there, and they drop the gun 3 inches.
Yep.
I walked away, but if you guys mentioned when you have a laser, not a momentary, but a laser you can just turn on and have them pull the trigger and watch that, like turns into a J or a little butterfly shape.
Yep,
no, but that's one thing.
Dry firing too, with if you're just sitting in your house and I don't, but I'm sure you guys can aim at a spot on the wall or whatever, and you start pulling and you see that you're actually moving instead of holding, right?
With the laser, it's been my experience that to do it well, you almost need 2 people. The reason being is that the person firing is primarily focusing on the front sight and secondarily focusing on the target. And the laser dot would be a tertiary thing out there, and no person's going to be able to do the first two things well and then actually pay attention to that little J thing. But I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's the advantage of having a shooting buddy with you that can watch it while you're trying to focus on the front sight and just the target.
And we used to put a penny on the front sight and do that.
Oh, balance it.
Electronic. Yeah, unless you have an electronic helper like the Mantis X or something like that actually will show you where you're moving your gun during the trigger pull.
So you're talking like a target or a laser and target combo where the target is interpreting the laser the whole path and then can go back and show you like an animation.
Right. Yeah, I'll always talk them up. That thing's pretty sweet.
Well, one thing, whenever I got that little Smith & Wesson bodyguard that I have, it's got a horribly heavy trigger and stuff, and I just sat in there with the laser on and just sat in my office chair, aiming at a picture on the wall and just kept doing it till I quit moving it because getting used to shooting it, it's such a tough trigger to get used to.
You could have maybe looked for a different firearm.
I know.
I'm just saying.
It's a good gun, though.
My dad has one. I was pretty interested in getting one until I shot his. Remington gets a lot of crap, but that RM380 is sweet in my opinion. I like that gun. It's got an aluminum frame.
After I got used to that bodyguard, I don't mind it at all. I mean, it's not a fun gun to shoot, but I don't mind it.
This takes practice. And who doesn't like to practice?
That particular gun, I would not enjoy practicing with it at all.
Yeah, they're not that much fun.
And it also kind of goes in the argument with people poo-poo the 380. Yeah, well, you go to the firing line and shoot a couple hundred rounds of 380 in a little gun like that in a row.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to keep Dano from embarrassing himself anymore, but we're gonna. I don't know what time we started late.
I don't think that's possible.
We're not 10 minutes away from the end of the show, right? We started late, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like 20 minutes later, 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to ask about recoil impulse. Is there a gun? I'm going to ask left to right. So starting with Angelina. Is there a gun that you shot that had an interesting or unusual impulse or recoil impulse that you would recommend to other people?
Like that I liked shooting because of the recoil?
I don't know. Maybe that's just like, oh, if you get a chance, check this out because it's different or interesting, or I don't know. Maybe sometimes I think those can be uncomfortable too. So I don't want to say pleasurable always or like the most comfortable because
I guess I would say my most surprising recoil was an MP5 because it was just like a paintball gun, and I thought it would have a little more to it.
They have that like roller locking bolt, so they definitely
roller delayed blowback.
A little bit different, right? Which kind did you shoot? Like a shoulder type or a pistol type?
A shoulder type.
Yeah, definitely. Then when you bring that thing up to your shoulder, like you said, there's just so much that 9mm recoil just disappears.
Yeah, it was just like thumps, basically. I mean, it was super chill.
Clover.
Okay, got my mute. I don't know. I mean, I can think of one really specific that's always been kind of interesting to me, and then one in general specific, like a Sharps trap door, in 4570 to me is interesting. And then go ahead.
Kind of brutal.
But then again, it's not to me. I mean, it is. It's a lot of recoil, but when we're talking about the pulse, it's a real broad push.
Okay, so I know what you're saying. So although it's a lot of recoil, the way that it's the smokeless powder.
It's like it's more spread out.
I don't.
or almost like it's delayed or something, right?
Yep.
And then one I've always really complained about to me is a 270. The recoil impulse on most 270s I've ever shot is really sharp. It's just like the complete opposite of what I'm talking about with that sharps, right? It's real needle point, like accurate, just a sharp little, almost like a bee sting or something.
I'm typing. We got a quote from Roosted over here in case anybody doesn't have one. Denim.
I guess I was thinking in regards to the cartridge power that the firearm was firing compared to the recoil felt, and where you could get the least amount of recoil for the most power projected out of the front end of the firearm. And where to me, where that's demonstrated in the most clear way is in an AR-15. As far as there's minimal recoil, period. And it's not that it's that high end of a cartridge; it's that the recoil is very similar to a standard 22 long rifle, in my opinion. I mean, it's just slightly more. Yet you're getting actual rifle performance out of it.
Right on. Night Strike.
When I was in the Boy Scouts, I learned how to use muzzle-loading rifles, and I thought the recoil on them would be much more, being black powder than it was, but it really wasn't that much more than using like a modern centerfire rifle. So,
Right on. Let me ask though, were those modern black powder or old-fashioned like?
Yeah, they were modern, but they had hex barrels.
Okay. I grew up with black powders, but ours were the old ones, like Pennsylvania rifles and stuff.
And these were standard modern hex barrels with with the caps.
Right on. The Pennsylvania rifles have, like, if you ever look at one, they've got the goofiest stock in the world. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, if their shoulders were tiny back in the day or something, but the recoil plus that goofy shoulder torture implement was not pleasant for me when I was a kid. But I imagine a flat shotgun style stock would make it a million times nicer.
And here's the funny thing: these were the ones we were using were the 50 caliber musket balls. So it was really interesting. And
Right on.
because I thought something that at the time I thought something that big would have much more of an effect when you shot it, but it didn't. So
Couldn't help it. All right, Patriot, what do you got?
Really, I mean, I've been trying to think, and there's really nothing super fancy or anything. I mean, the one that comes to mind was either a Savage lever action 30-30 when I was a kid. It just because for what it was, a 30-30, you didn't think much of it, but the thing was extremely loud. And the other one was a 38-55 lever action Winchester, and that had, I mean, the bullet looked huge, but it was a straight wall, whatever. But it wasn't. It didn't have hardly anything compared to that 30-30. So, and I'm just remembering this. I mean, obviously, it's been 30 years. So
maybe we're always heightened with this perception because of Daredevil and stuff. But when you go shoot now, when you're shooting a semi-auto, you think, because you've shot semi-autos before, right? Do you think that you're experiencing more in the, I don't know, tactile part of shooting?
Not really. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, the louder, the more violent, the better. I say, but I'm kind of the range or something.
Have you thought about doing something like getting a couple of different springs? Because while you don't get to, I guess, play around with the visual part, you could potentially have some fun experiencing what a 3-pound trigger and a 8-pound trigger and one extreme recoil spring and the other extreme, like a tighter recoil spring.
I've looked at them for like the 1911s because like Wilson Combat's got the wide range of stuff like that, and I've thought about it. I've never done it, but that is a good idea. Yeah, because I mean, otherwise, I mean, like shooting the 45, it's like You know, that's totally different than, you know, a 9. You know, the decibels and stuff are different, but obviously the 9's more small.
Sure. Pink, you've shot a lot of guns.
Probably I don't know, the most enjoyable would be the PS90. I mean, there's just hardly no recoil at all in that.
I gotta agree. And plus, it's a bullpup, so you're kind of wrapping around the gun in a different way. That's kind of neat and different. Just the way you different.
And probably the one that I don't know, probably shocked me the most and probably left the biggest bruise would be a Type 53 or like an M44 type rifle.
The gun.
Yeah, the recoil on that is just killer.
Yeah, they're brutal. Which is good because that was kicking the shit out of the communist shoulders for us. So, right on. All right, Bacon.
So, I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of guns, but I did notice that I flinched quite badly with semi-auto handguns. But shotguns, I can shoot all day. But maybe it's just a matter of a lot of years' experience with shotguns, and I'm still learning a heck of a lot with semi-auto handguns.
Right on. Do you ever go to the range and just rent for a day? You know, some of the ranges, the indoor ranges, will let you put down $7 and rent it, and then bring it back and get another one, get another one for that same $7 or whatever it is for the rental.
I have, but also somebody mentioned snap caps earlier, and I have my buddy load the magazine, so I don't know where they're going to come.
Okay.
And try to train myself better at that. But I got a lot of work to do on that.
That's definitely a good way to experience the flinch when you're not expecting it, and even when you're aware that it's you got rounds in there, it's a good way to get your head on the game and be ready for it each shot deliberately. Taters.
Okay, you guys are gonna laugh so hard, but I'm serious. I have not had a handgun hurt my hand more than my Burst of Thunder 380, and I'm not joking. I've got a Remington RM 380 now, so it's like a smaller gun. But the Bursa, the way the beaver tail came back, the corner of it rested right on the top of my knuckle bone, and it's kind of a sharp corner. So every single time I pulled the trigger, it like went down into my knuckle bone, and after a couple of magazines, I'd have like a little like red spot there. It might be bleeding a little bit. Couldn't do it. The thing hurt my hand. I had to get rid of it. And I shoot my 44 mag all day.
I had one of those things, and you're right that it's a snappy, like just very uncomfortable pistol to shoot.
That's one of those things where you could look at it all day and everybody can tell you how great it is, and you buy it and then you experience that. So going to a range and renting one is always a good idea if you're trying to sound like a new platform or something that you new grip shape or something. All right, that takes us to Knob. You've been to the fast shoot before, right?
Probably a 300 with a break was the most surprising one, anyways. Because I shot it without a break, and then the guy put the brake on it, and I was shocked at how much difference that made.
Yeah, it's crazy because those things have so much energy. You basically are putting diversion jets on it, so it's pulling some of its own energy from your shoulder.
All I know is when you're next to one, though, you should probably double your ear protection.
Good point. Then they'll kick up dirt. So you're out hunting or whatever, and you're in prone thinking you got the greatest shot ever, and next thing you know, you're coughing dirt up for 6 hours. Right on. So that was a neat collection. I didn't hear anybody do anything full auto, so I'm going to say a couple of guns because that's on the end, so I get to pick a bunch of stuff you guys didn't say. So if you've never felt the difference in recoil impulse between an AR-15 and an AK-47, you don't need to have them in full auto to experience that. An AR-15, like I mentioned before, it's most of its weight, most of the movement that the weight is in the receiver, and you hold basically an aluminum tube. So it's an interesting recoil impulse. Most people have experienced that and maybe don't think too much about it. some of us coming from bolt guns, growing up with bolt guns and shotguns and stuff, it was kind of neat to experience those ARs the first times. But in AK-47, it's definitely different. The dwell is different, and it's happening right next to your face. That bolt carrier comes right up next to your cheek inside the dust cover, and it's just kind of crickety, and maybe the difference between driving a Jeep and driving a some kind of faster car, right? So it's definitely a different recoil impulse. But a couple more is like an Uzi. If you ever get a chance to shoot an Uzi, much like Angelina said with the HK, they're little guns, and they're blowback. They're not blowback, they're open bolt. So the way that they fire is the bolt comes forward. So the mass of the gun is coming forward onto that round, and it goes off and pushes the weight of the gun again backwards. So it's really jumpy in your hand, and it's sort of like riding a motorcycle or riding a horse. It takes a minute to get used to it. Once you've gotten used to it, it's fun challenge to keep it under control. So Uzis are super fun. Macs are fun in the same way. Thompson, though, nobody mentioned Thompsons. I'm sure some of you have shot Thompsons before. Just such a neat gun. It's got a big giant metal chassis with this big giant weight inside of it. And there's just something about, again, like Pink said with his PS90, wrapping yourself around a Thompson, just all that history flows in, and then that recoil impulse is slow. If you get to shoot a full auto Thompson sometime, they used to say you could write your name with one, and that's because Thompson knew what he was doing. He engineered that thing to be useful in full auto. So it's definitely a fun one to shoot in full auto. Dano, didn't you shoot the Thompson in full auto?
Yes. In fact, I thought the next to an M16 that the Thompson is probably the most shootable, and certainly in a pistol caliber as compared to, let's say, the grease gun.
Yeah, the 9s, the stun and the grease guns, I mean, definitely take an opportunity to shoot one if you can. I would jump on a Thompson before I jump on the 9, just because, like Angelina said and others, it's the 9mm recoil just disappears in a gun, so especially a shoulder-mounted gun. So it'll be fun to shoot the stream. They shoot high cyclical rates, and that's neat. But it's like controlling a fast hose, and it happens so fast that unless you got unlimited rounds, you know somebody who's shooting it and they brought a lot of ammo. Just a round or a bag or two out of a Thompson is satisfying.
Just comparing the Thompson and automatic versus a Glock 19 auto pistol, and how it just climbs straight to the sky in that auto pistol.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to shoot a full auto Glock, that's a whole experience in itself.
And two more, we're going down the full auto road, because I wasn't really in that mode earlier. Probably the most pleasant I've ever shot was the Vector. The worst, the FAL. The FAL is horrible under full auto, in my opinion.
That's a big bullet, yeah, and that's old tack.
It's a heavy rifle, man. But like by the time the third round goes off, it's pointing straight up. I mean, it's just crazy.
HKG3 has a strange recoil impulse too.
Right, sorry, I've been chatting with Bob. We got a full room, but I've been chatting with Bob a little bit. So that's our recoil impulse. I think that was a neat topic. Again, we're trying to pick topics for this show that aren't dropped down to us from the agenda-based media or whatever. There's lots of shows where we talk about stuff that's necessary to be aware of the topics of the day, but hopefully this is an alternative to it, and hopefully that was fun for you. We could talk about a gun shop of the day, I suppose. Oh, today it's the J.M. Davis Historical Museum. So a couple of us have been there. That's works out pretty good. So Angelina, have you stopped by? I know you've been to Oklahoma, near Tulsa.
I haven't, but I think I'm gonna go to the Wanamaker thing the next,
November.
Yeah, so I'll probably.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're that close, yeah, don't miss it.
And Clover's been there. Dano has been there. Night Strike been there. Patriot. Got a chance to get there?
No, I haven't.
Pink. I don't think you've been to that one.
Nope, I haven't been there yet. I want to be there though, because I want to check out J.M. Davis. And
It was awesome. That's all I have to say. It was awesome.
Bacon or woods. Bacon wood. Would smoke bacon.
Yeah, sorry, no.
Okay.
Never been anywhere near any of those states.
Oh, okay. Taters, been there?
One day, but not yet.
Okay. And then Snob lives, what, minutes away?
About 20 miles. And I haven't been there since in probably 20 years, so that's embarrassing. But I will make that right.
You know what you're going to be able to offer everybody, though? When you go through, I'd be interested at least, because I'm a nerd like this, for you to go through and give us your recollections of what's different, like how it was different, because it's, I mean, I know it's the same building, but I'm sure it's changed a bit since that time, and I'd be curious, like, what kind of stuff has moved on or changed.
And you can camp out on Snob's land while you're in town.
Anyway,
hey, there you go. Gun channels,
Maybe set up
campgrounds.
There's plenty around. You can just chill out down on the creek.
And I was offered free dogs earlier, so
yeah.
We were trying to find a house last time. We'll just confiscate Snob's house.
You know, that's we're talking about the museum, but we might as well, since a bunch of us have been there and everybody's pretty much familiar with it. I'm just going to quickly say we should probably consider that. And I know we all like that hotel, but that is still an option. Or maybe anyway, let's talk about that in a different show. James Davis Firearms Museum. You guys have been there. I've talked about it probably a zillion times on this show. You guys take it this time.
Something interesting about it that a lot of people that listen to this probably don't know is probably 5 or 10 years ago, the curators at the time, I don't remember how long ago it was, their son was embezzling guns from there and got caught.
Wait,
stolen.
What? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like the curator's son or son-in-law or something was embezzling guns from there and had stole, like, I don't remember, $100,000 worth of guns from there, unknown for a while. And then it finally got caught. I don't even think they got all of them back, just some of them. It was a big deal around here on the news whenever it happened. I don't remember the whole story now. It's been so long.
You know, they told the story when we did the tour. They told the story how, because they're a museum and all, they can get certain guns like that have been seized and all this other stuff that obviously people can't own, right? And so you've got to think that when they take in these guns, if you have a curator or somebody there that's less than scrupulous, right, that the opportunity could present itself for stuff to walk off like that.
Oh, yeah, and this was like the kid of that, so the curator at the time.
Plus, if he gets one in that he would like to have in his own collection, like, oh, they'll never miss this.
And I think all the ones he was taking was ones that aren't like, you know, stuff that wasn't displayed, stuff that was in the back, you know, extras and stuff like that. But so it took a while for him to notice.
Well, I'll tell you what, they were pretty Johnny on the spot, because Cycle Camp, there was some rare something or another that Cycle Camp was talking about, and the curator put on his white gloves and literally went in the back and got it. So
yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, but that also kind of illuminates something that I think is more common than people realize, is that, you know, when you go to a museum, there's often you know, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, you know, or more of items that aren't necessarily on display due to lack of room and things like that. Mm-hmm. That they may have, or they may rotate their collection, you know, from one year to another. So a lot of times there's things, whether it's in the basement, off-site storage, or something like that, that many museums have.
Mm-hmm.
Another neat thing about it, just here a while back, I don't know, a month ago or so, I drove by there on a Saturday because I'd worked that day and that afternoon, and they have a Wild West street shootout in the parking lot. You know, it was pretty neat. Had a bunch of people dressed up in period clothing and doing a shootout in the parking lot.
Now, since we're talking J.M. Davis, I do want to pass along my impression is before I saw J.M. Davis, just a couple days prior, I had been through the one, or I should say the second, NRA gun museum outside, I think it's Springfield, Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, it's got to be Springfield, Missouri. So that was, you know, my first experience going to an actual gun museum. And then I went to J.M. Davis, which dwarfed the NRA museum. Now, the NRA museum had a lot more information on each individual piece that J.M. Davis may not have necessarily had. So as far as that, the NRA was probably a little bit better, but the J.M. Davis had, as far as the breadth and width of collection was amazing.
Are you talking about the NRA that's in the Bass Pro?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's in Springfield.
That's Springfield, yeah.
Okay, well, here's another thing. How many firearms museums do you know have a tank out on the front lawn?
1, 2.
That I've seen. I've only seen one. That's James Davis.
And you
3.
can climb on it and take your picture if you want.
Yeah.
3. The 45th Infantry Division Museum has a shit ton of static displays out front. That's, their infantry. So, mechanized infantry. So they've got a bunch. And then, of course, Dragon Man has his own tank.
How
He
many?
doesn't have anybody else in the country, I think.
I was
How many-
talking strictly firearms museums, though.
Yeah, but how about how about this?
In this country, and the 45th Infantry Museum is right close to J.M. Davis. It is amazing, and it's in Oklahoma City. Go ahead, Clover.
Well, how about this? How many people are buried with their firearm collection? That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good point. There's only 2 people in the state of Oklahoma that are buried on state property.
Right.
Well, 2 families, I guess, because him and his wife.
Yeah.
But him and the guy from there.
Will
Rogers.
Rogers, yeah. Will Rogers.
But
One
he
other
wasn't
thing-
actually buried with the collection. He's more like buried.
Under the same roof, dude. Get
Oh, come on, dude. He's got his tripod mounted stuff with him. His cannon is with him. Like,
No, they're in the same room. It's not exactly with them.
He's
We
under
don't know what's in that whatever that tomb or casket thing is.
his go. Come on, they lock the outside doors. They don't. I doubt they lock that room at night. They lock all the outside stuff. So you don't know that his ghost doesn't come out of the mausoleum at night and go around and play with stuff, right?
We know someone who would know that, but he's not here tonight.
But how about that Gatling gun that they had there? That was awesome.
Yes.
You know,
All right.
the whole experience and the tour was something, we didn't get the tour the first time. And I'm glad we got the tour second. And we definitely need to schedule get with Wayne is the whatever the director's name or whatever, I think. Not the curator, but the director. And set up another tour, especially if there's people that go that didn't go last time, because the stories and stuff from the tour was amazing.
It was.
Oh yeah, a tour, because of the way their tour is, it's not like a recorded thing that you're just walking around a pattern. It's literally the guy walks with the group, so he responds to your questions and says, "Oh, you're interested in this? Let's walk over to that part of the museum." Every single tour is going to be unique and awesome. I'm going to try to arrange a tour every time I go from now on. They're going to get sick.
One other thing about the tank, though, how many firearms museums have a tank at Christmas time that has a Santa Claus driving it?
Oh, I got it was Dragon Man, but I don't think the 45th Infantry.
Yeah.
Roostic says there's a place in Minnesota you can drive up and shoot tanks. I might have to check that out.
I think I saw a TV show on that.
That's cool.
All right, so we've been running through the show. I think we talked about our gun shop of the day. Today was the museum. One of the things we try to do on the daily is talk about a new gun shop. I'll be out on the road here soon, so we'll be taking a look at a whole bunch of new gun shops. And anybody would like to recommend their shop, feel free, dailygunshow@gmail.com. And eventually, when we get the 15-minute show going, we'll be 7 days a week. So we'll definitely be interested in helping to promote anybody's shops out there so that we can let others know about it. So tonight we've been doing the Free Patch Friday knife giveaway thing, and I think it's about time we start giving some knives away. So let me screen capture over here, and I've got the it's working. We've got the random generator over here. We've got the gun channels on the YouTube. You don't have to be present to win. So to qualify, you need to buy something over at the store. I'm going to refresh the store over here. I got to say, I am very grateful. I've never had this many orders in a month, and we had a lot of orders today. I'm going to count Jamie, because that one came in a little bit earlier, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll actually do it like this, and I'll get an accurate number. I have so many, I have to click check boxes and scroll. Awesome. So thanks everyone. You'll get yours, whatever you did order, you'll get free patches. In fact, I'll try to do something special for the free patch. And then everybody, does it tell me how many? 17. It's amazing. We're going to give away all 4 of these knives. So fuck it. So everybody's in here. I'm just going to go from top or bottom and we'll do 17. And again, really appreciate this. Awesome. So we'll put 17 over here. And eventually I'll hit Mom's lock and get 17 in here. All right, so let's see, we'll just go left to right, or maybe right to left. Potatoes, top or bottom? Will I be counting from the top or the bottom? Potatoes refuses to answer. Are we still live?
We're still live.
I'm not sure your question. What do you mean top or bottom?
I'm going to be counting. I'm not going to show you the list because it has their names, right? But I'm
Oh,
going to
gotcha. Okay.
17 people. So why don't we go down? You got what we're doing here.
I think Tater's mic's messing up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, Dana, what'd you say, top or bottom?
Top.
Okay, so this is going to be from the top, and it's going to be 11th from the top. That means I can count 6 from the bottom, right?
Yep. So whoever number 11 is from the top.
Which is?
And you could send that check to Jess Dano.
Oh, wait. I guess if you're live, you get to pick the knife. Let's do it that way, and then, so we'll see. So, Matthew, with an AT&T address. Shit, you got a PVC patch. You got one of the, I should say, Gun Channel's PVC patch. So you guys can help me see in the chat if Matthew with an AT&T address who got one of the Gun Channel's patches is out there. So next so we'll say that one. I have that tab open. That'll be number 1. He'll get first pick. And then we'll do from 17 again. Why don't we have Taters not back yet? We'll have Patriot. Should I go top or bottom?
Bottom.
So from the bottom, 16. So that means 1, 2 from the top, right? Over here, 2 from the top is this who I think it is? It is taking forever to open. Yes, this is Woods from this chat right here. Grabbed a Gun Show Loophole Tour and Every Second Matters. Thank you for that. We're going to wait a minute to see if Matthew with the AT&T address who grabbed a Gun Channels patch wants to grab one first, and then we'll do our third person. Oh, I don't have to change anything here. Angelina, how about top or bottom?
Top.
Okay, from 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You didn't say what I thought you said, huh?
This is super fake. This is super fake. She just picked herself. Should we allow this to happen?
Yeah.
Can this happen? I don't know. I guess she doesn't know.
Nah, it was random. So yeah.
I picked myself.
All right, so Angelina will get third pick, and I don't care about the rules. I'm going to do the fourth one too. So, Clover, heard you say something, top or bottom?
Let's go bottom.
Bottom 13. So that means 4 from the top. 1, 2, 3. Taters. Taters right here in the chat. So we have actually
Whoa.
chat. Is this more? This is super fake. We should have rigged this totally different.
Rigged.
We gotta rig this better next time. Sorry, but we have one person, the first person out there. Are they saying they're out there?
I haven't seen anything yet.
Well, I guess we'll just have to make up the rules and let you guys pick, and then that person, unless they scream out on one of these two sides, will.
They've had time by now.
Okay, so first was Woods, correct?
Yes.
Woods. Which one do you want? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, the Spyderco.
Top Spyderco, the Delica. You got it. And Angelina's next.
It doesn't matter.
Seriously, that's how you're gonna be.
She should get like the.
She said she was going to give it to me anyway, so.
I figured she'd get the raptor claw.
Which one?
The raptor claw.
Legal? Is there any issue with California?
Wait, no. I have a remark. Is the one with the spider the one that Woods just picked?
The top one here, yeah. There's one with the whole blade. That's the one that I took from
She
you.
can have it. I can pick a different one.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I like the one with the spider.
Okay, Woods.
Let's go to the one. Is that a Benchmade right below it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Woods. That was nice of you.
That'll take us to taters. You got this Nurky Gurk thing or the Kirk thing?
The dinosaur claw.
I'll take the Benchmade. You're gonna have to pick a different one. I'm just kidding.
I'm new enough. You can pull rank. It's fine.
No, I'll take the one with like the weird finger hole thing in it.
This
Never-
guy
oh,
can-
is that a serrated? Yeah, screw it. I'll take that one. Yeah.
It's serrated as shit. This one isn't serrated at all, but this one is serrated from tip to bottom, and its double blade is also serrated. This one is not. This is a single piece of metal. It's actually 5 pieces of metal, including the screw, the bolt, the clip, the blade, and then this whole other piece with the lock and everything is just one piece of metal kind of folded around and cut different. And it's really weird, and, kind of interesting. This one
Yeah, it
is
looks kind of weird. I'll
Yeah.
take the one with the finger hole thing.
Okay. So that means the first one we picked there is getting this one. And again, thanks everybody for participating. Everybody's going to get one of the Daily Gun Show buttons as well. We got those a while back. I think they're made in New York. Got them at a good deal, so I grabbed them. But anyway, thanks again. I really do appreciate it. And we're getting our I got confirmation today that I am going to be able to get on the trip and get up to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So this is definitely going to help with that. And stay tuned for having this show on the road. I'm hoping to get out there sooner than later. So stay tuned for that. Band chats will kick in again here. Maybe heading up and doing the loop from Chicago to Cody and then down to Salt Lake City and back down. So, wow, that's pretty neat. So what else do we got left? History?
Yes, there are a couple important things to the U.S. that actually happened today.
I'm going to throw this link out. Did you already have the link? You've been looking already, I'm guessing? What's today, 24, 23?
Yeah, I was doing the history.com.
Oh, you do it a different way. So I'm going to throw this link in to everybody. That's just this military one that Dead Horse gave us. Okay, so I always like to just read the first one because it's always old. 1682, Duke of York gave Delaware to William Penn. There you go. So what were you going to say, Dana? What happened today?
In this day in 1814, British capture and burn Washington. During the War of 1812, British forces under General Robert Ross overwhelmed American militiamen at the Battle of Bladensburg, Maryland, and marched unopposed to Washington, D.C. Most congressmen and officials fled the nation's capital as soon as word came of the American defeat. But James Madison and his wife stayed, but not in the White House exactly. And the other major thing that affected this country, in 1954, Congress passes the Communist Control Act. Congress passed the Communist Control Act in response to growing anti-communism hysteria in the United States. Though full of ominous language, many found the purpose of the act unclear. That was also known as the Red Scare. And for those of you that may not remember but may have heard of Joseph McCarthy, he was a senator that spearheaded that effort. It was 1954.
1863, some Confederate general says the submarine boat sent to Charleston found that there was not enough water under the Ironsides for her to pass below her keel. Therefore, they decided to affix a spike to the bow, drive the spike into the side of the Ironsides, and then back out and explode the torpedo, which was attached to the spike. So
The Hunley.
underwater warfare.
Yeah, we were doing submarine warfare before the Germans were. Just saying.
Yeah, in a nasty, dastardly way.
Yeah.
In 1891, Thomas Edison patented the motion picture camera. Remember, does anybody know what the first motion picture was? I think what the first motion picture was? Anybody know what I think the first motion picture was?
Tell us.
It's that shit ton of pictures of a horse, right? And then the horse goes galloping by the grid. Or am I crazy?
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely, I remember something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think that's it. I don't know if Edison did it, but I think that's the first time somebody came up with it. What?
How about 1909? Workers started pouring concrete for the Panama Canal.
Yeah, how crazy is that? I wish they'd tell us how long that took, because I bet you it took a while, right?
Yeah, probably like a year or so. Maybe more.
Please, no, it took a lot longer than a year, dude.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Yeah, probably at that time, you're right.
Dude, they had like
It
malaria.
began in 1881 and finished in 1904.
1881.
Oh,
and
no, in 1914. I'm sorry, I read that wrong.
Yeah, 1914. It finished later than 19. Because they did. How did it finish in 1904 if they just started pouring concrete in 09?
Well, so
No, they started pouring concrete in 1881 and finished in 1914. Or they started to work on it.
And
the radio.
British.
Who's listening to a ham radio out there? Okay, we got a mute.
Oh wait, we got Hosh out there.
Saying something, Patriot?
Yeah, the British spared the Marine Corps barracks when they burnt the Washington because of the Battle of Plattsburgh. How they fought so good. They said, "Well, we're not going to screw up your barracks."
Is there an echo in here? I thought.
Did you say the barracks?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah,
1945, the last Cadillac built.
But Patriot is a Marine saying it, so it's valid.
Yeah, so it means a little more, maybe. And it wasn't a ham radio; it's just my desktop talking to you.
Well, that's okay. We can hush for it.
1941, Adolf Hitler orders a cessation. I cannot talk tonight. A cessation of Nazi Germany's systematic T4 euthanasia program of the mentally ill and handicapped due to protest, although killings continue throughout the remainder of the war.
Yeah. 45, the last Cadillac built M24 tank was produced on this day, ending the company's World War II effort.
44, Allied
45,
troops.
yeah.
No, in 44, sorry. Allied troops begin the attack on Paris.
Ooh. You guys missed this one from 1894. Congress passed the first graduated income tax. It was declared unconstitutional the next year. It imposed a 2% tax on incomes over $4,000. So a 2% on incomes over $4,000 in 1894 was probably not the majority of the people, and that was still declared unconstitutional. So I like this history page for putting stuff like that in there. It's neat.
It's very illuminating to people who think that, well, how can the government run if they don't have our money? Well, yet clearly they ran for well over 100 years without a tax directly on the citizens.
Ooh, here's an interesting one. In 1998, the first RFID chip was implanted in a human.
Wait, are you talking Patriot?
Yep.
Interesting.
Robotic arm, man.
Let's see. Voyager 2 passed within 3,000 miles of Neptune, sending back striking photos. That was in 1989. That's amazing because we've seen. Well, I guess I was going to say we've seen a lot of Voyager 2 stuff, but I bet you the years are. There's probably a bunch of years between.
They're spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Mikhail
Our
Gorbachev
solar
resigned.
system.
In 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev resigns.
Begrudgingly.
Do we have anybody from Pennsylvania in here? No. Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else? A lot of them.
1995, Windows 95 was released.
Whoa! Today? That's interesting.
Yep. And that's all I got.
All right, we got one Medal of Honor today. All right, so what is this? British Ambassador. Sweet. All right, well, that was a little bit of history. Again, we try to talk about history like that because you might be going to the range this weekend, give you something to talk about while you're waiting in line or something, or waiting for a ceasefire and whatnot. And then, all whatever. It's kind of fun. So Hosh just jumped in. You got the ham radio podcast tomorrow, Betrell. So I'm hoping I talk you into going live from Swap Meet.
Yeah, swap me tomorrow. So check me out in the morning. I'll hopefully be doing some 360 live stream on the YouTube side from the W6TRW swap meet in Redondo Beach, California. And then we'll go live at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time the same day for the Ham Radio Crash Course. So it should be a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
And that's called Dead Air. I'm trying to queue things up here and be savvy about it. So, Angelina, anything going on at Allen Anchor over the weekend?
Nope, not really. I'm not working this weekend, so pretty stoked about that.
What are we missing here? Clover, you do stuff. What do you got coming up?
Me? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do anything, man. I just hang around.
What is the stuff you speak of?
Yeah, I don't do anything. What have I got coming up? Just the usual next week. I can't think of anything just altogether crazy. We kind of had a crazy week this week, but yeah, the Monday show and then the Wednesday show with the youth competitive shooters. That's always awesome. Haven't really planned the Thursday show yet, and honestly, right now I can't remember who's slated for Friday, so that doesn't help.
That's a good place to be because you know you got people coming.
I know I got somebody on there. I just don't know who.
Right on. You had a really good show earlier today. Gary from.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
What's the name of the company again? I don't know.
Honor Defense is the company. Yeah, and then Honor Guard is the pistol.
Right on. Thanks. So yeah, that was neat. I really like talking to manufacturers when they're interesting, and that guy was definitely able to keep up and had insight and willing to share. Super cool.
Yeah, it should tell you a lot. I mean, that companies get demonized all the time for their products and this, that, and the other. But anybody that listens to that and listens to him, you should be able to tell real quick that you're talking about every question that was answered. He didn't just have the canned response answer, right? It was a very detailed. Here's the mechanics behind it. Here's the reasoning behind it. A lot of people just is a canned response and they move on, and that's what's really interesting about him is he kind of geeks out on it a little bit.
I felt like he kind of really cares about his product and cares about his company, and really went into depth on everything he answered.
Absolutely.
Night Strike, what do you got coming up?
Not much. I think Snob has something coming up.
Okay.
And I think it's coming up tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. We got a new show on the works. He's muted. He's shy. It's gonna be a quiet show.
Yeah, it's gonna be really quiet. No, I invited Night Strike because I stole his topic, so it'll be loud. He'll be screaming.
I didn't say it was my topic. It's just
I mean, that's where I got the idea from. So I was gonna give you credit where credit's due.
All right.
I did leave a little note on the main page at Gun Channels about might want to put like the day and the time of the event.
I thought I did.
And you might have put that there since I put the reminder up there, so maybe I just didn't see it.
Am I missing anybody? Patriot, you've been cooking up over there. Anything in the works?
I've got a ton. This weekend, my local range has their end of summer sale. The first 25 people to go to the outdoor range get a box of SIG ammo. And they also have a new, I believe it's 12 lanes of steel targets in the pistol range that they're just opening up. And besides the outdoor.
So are we going to see some video from this?
I don't know. I might. If I get to the range, I might just get stuck at the sales inside. So I don't know. I'm hoping. I put out a video this evening. It was kind of choppy because the original footage that I was going to put out I kind of deleted the editing stuff, so I had to get the bits and pieces because I gave the gun away. So if I wanted a video on it, I had to use all the little bits and pieces, and so there are some kind of odd words in there, but it came out, I guess. So you'll just have to check it out. So check out my channel and all that stuff.
Right on. Well, keep posting it. People will find it and hopefully share it. And yeah, thanks for putting the effort in and sharing what you're doing out there.
No problem.
I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Bacon's just going back to work.
Yeah, just a bunch of kids.
Rubbing bellies, hopefully, working.
Yeah, we had our parent night last night, and that's always interesting.
Rubbing parents' bellies, or?
No, you rubbing puppy bellies, him going to work.
Oh, okay.
I think we could everybody except for Dano, who never does nothing. You gonna do anything, Dano?
I got the weekend off.
Oh,
That's what I'm doing. Nothing.
Right on. Well, enjoy your weekend. I want to say thanks again to the people that have purchased stuff from the gun website or the gear website store. It really is encouraging to keep us going. Like I say, I did get some good news today. I will be on the road with the tour heading up to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. We'll be doing some van chats to talk about routes and the van and what kind of adventures we might see along the way. We should be able to get through, looks like probably New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Illinois, Minnesota, one of the Dakotas, Wyoming, Salt Lake City, Vegas, California. We'll see. And then back to Tucson. So looking forward to that. Stay tuned for the adventures here on the show, on the websites, on, I guess, YouTube, and the other social media platforms like guntube.org and Gunstreamer. Lots of neat stuff. So we'll continue to play with this internet, and we'll continue to create these pipelines that we can use when we need them. We're going to go up there and talk to the people at the Gun Rights Policy Conference and get all kinds of new encouraging info, and hopefully we'll go into these midterms and beyond with some direction and some momentum and some coordination, and we can all start putting our efforts together and seeing some stuff change in a positive way. We really look forward to it. Thanks everybody for being part of it. And Dano, I think you said you got the quote.
Yep, I got it. So you ready?
Oh, we're ready.
All right. Today I got a quote from Colonel Jeff Cooper, USMC. The quote is as follows: "Safety is something that happens between your ears, not something you hold in your hands. And with that, be strong and stand up for your country and go forth and conquer."
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. My mother's making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again.